Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Well, a sea of red across the board this week after some Tether news dragged markets down. Stock markets are breaking out to record highs. We're going to go over all the macro and crypto news for you guys. As usual, we do welcome a few hundred new subscribers. Welcome to the Nuggets News community. A bit of housekeeping here. Ben has just launched our new website, so I've got a fantastic team, 7 people now and always growing, and that does allow us to do fantastic research and strategizing and all that sort of thing. So if you want to know more about what we do, head over to nuggetsnews.com.au. There's plenty of testimonials there, further deep dives about everything that we offer, and we do believe that under $50 a month is incredible value for any premium cryptocurrency group. This is a sort of quality of post you're going to get. Matt Williamson is one of the new Nuggets News contributors, and he was talking about Gifto moving over to Binance Chain 2 months ago. So we're always trying to keep you guys ahead of the market. Thanks to Matt. He's the guy behind all the daily altcoin news on nuggetsnews.com.au as well. I will be drawing our $20,000 prizes giveaway live, hopefully on Monday night. So thanks to everyone that entered. Plenty of prizes to give away. Make sure you tune in if you're planning on winning something there. On this day in crypto history, so it was this time last year, the 17 millionth Bitcoin was mined. Only 2 years since we broke a new all-time high of $1,300. In 2016, Steam Games began accepting Bitcoin. Gavin Anderson left the Bitcoin Foundation, and Brock Pierce was elected president, and Mt. Gox begins those bankruptcy proceedings. Now, some of you noticed that Steam Games stopped accepting Bitcoin because of volatility and high crypto fees, which is something that we do want to overcome in future. And thanks to Zen here, also contributing something from April 2013, the first ever chart for Bitcoin on CoinMarketCap. Now, into the macro Australian news. I won't dive into this too much this week because Martin and I did our usual update. Thank you for everyone that is watching these and sharing them with friends and family. I think something big is coming in Australia, and if you don't follow Philip Sues, he is an independent economist. He's working on Australian crime and mortgage fraud, and he's really concerned about the direction of the country, as I am. Now, there's plenty of good pockets. I don't want to be a perma bear and tell you the markets are just going to crash, guys. That is a waste of everyone's time, and it's something that a lot of people get lured into when they first get into the investing space. But we have to be aware that there's some pretty crap underwriting standards. This is something that caused a GFC in the US, so we'll continue to cover this news for you guys. But I do think it's going to present an opportunity at the end of the day. So being aware of what's going on around you in education is why we tie all this together with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Over to France now, where President Macron tried to woo the yellow vest with some tax cuts and talks about immigration, a lot of compromises and whatnot, but the yellow vests were having none of it. And protests resuming. This is a great example, guys, of the people having a say. And I think with the next round of money printing and all that's going to take place, it's not going to be politically accepted, and people are going to take to the streets and start to protest when the banks, the government, all those guys get bailed out, the rich get richer, and the little man suffers. And I think people are going to stick up for themselves like never before. Now, on the flip side of this, the GDP numbers came in really positive in the US. 3.2% growth is a lot higher than anyone really expected. Now, again, they're saying that there's a number of factors here that weren't great under the surface, but the fact remains that's a pretty strong number, whether or not you believe it. But the stock markets and the Nasdaq closing at record highs. Now, we know these markets are all smoke and mirrors. They're pumped up by that money printing and low interest rates and by stock buybacks, guys. We broke that record here. Over $1 trillion in stock buybacks in 2019. So this is absolutely crazy. The amount of people that are buying back their own stock. Shouldn't you be investing that in expanding your business or the economy rather than lining the pockets of shareholders that tend to be the more wealthy? On top of that, the thing that we look for markets topping out is complacently. And the amount of shorts on the VIX, which is the volatility index for the stock market, has never been higher. So even though the volatility index is at near record lows, everyone is betting that it's going to go lower. And that tells you that they're not phased about anything. Fundamentals are out the window. Value investing is out the window. There's too much money. The Fed's got our back. Markets are just going to continue to go high, guys. So you have to be aware of how you can position yourself to take advantage of this. I think all of that money is going to flow into the new asset class of Bitcoin and crypto, but also other, gold and silver eventually once this all spills over. But you have to be aware that there's so much money out there, and central banks and governments are going to do crazy things to kick the can down the road. That can't last forever, but we'll continue to let you guys know how this is playing out. Into the crypto news now. I do want to tie this back to our macro news, because Dan and I went live when this Tether news came out, and everyone's had their say on this week. I'm sure you've watched so many videos and read articles about it. Now, Bitfinex came back and said that it's only a few weeks until we can unfreeze these funds. So they're only shifting money temporarily because it was frozen in that bank. Let's see if it's all there. I don't think Bitfinex is as bad as everyone is making out. There's plenty of other stablecoins out there. Paxos announced they're going to issue 100 million of stablecoins on Ontology. So good news for the Ontology blockchain. That one is certainly becoming a vicious competitor for Neo recently as well. But there's a lot more stablecoins out there these days. The point I want to raise is that banks run fractional reserves, and these fiat stablecoins are exposed to this. They've all got money in different banks, and Bitfinex having their accounts frozen is just one example of what can happen. But also, even if they do have all the money in there on paper, if you ever tried to withdraw $10,000, $100 out of a bank, what if Bitfinex tried to withdraw $2 billion at once out of the bank? We know that banks don't have that money there. They run it as a fractional reserve. They lend it out to other one. They speculate with that money. This is what the banking system has become. That's why I've been more favorable to decentralized stablecoins, but we'll talk about those later in the episode as well. The most important thing I want you to take away from this episode was this series of tweets by Caitlin Long saying that the double standards here are crazy. So what authority does the New York Attorney General have, to do this? It's America being the world police, and this is just such a double standard. They didn't do anything about Merrill Lynch back in the GFC when Merrill Lynch were taking customer funds, speculating on Wall Street, buying up mortgage-backed securities, and they turn a blind eye. Yet here they are at any chance trying to crack down on crypto, and it really, really drives me crazy, guys. But let's see how this one plays out. Okay, so now we're into the crypto news. Australian adoption continues to, I really think, lead the world. And Origin Kebabs, yes, it's only kebab store, guys, but yeah, Binance Chain powered point of sale system is a bit of a stretch here, I think, guys, but we know that Binance Coin is one of those coins that you can pay with Travel by Bits system. Cheap Air, one of the largest travel agencies in the world, has begun accepting a few of the bigger coins there. This was 5 million in payments during a bear market. It's good news. One by one, adoption continues to increase. And for some great news for Icon here, releasing their PREP testnet. So Icon has been one that has taken a battering in the bear market. I like that they're sort of edging into the STO space. I think they're back on track. And if you've been dollar cost averaging, obviously these are far more appealing prices than the lofty heights. But Icon is one that I think is going to have regular good announcements from now on. And I do like that, Korean sort of aspect to it as well. They can really get hungry for crypto very quickly and drive prices higher. Now, this is what I covered a few weeks ago, Set Protocol, and their token sets are now live, so you can automate your crypto portfolio. So here's 6 of the first few that they've launched, and this is probably a good example here. If you're a Bitcoin enthusiast, but you like Ether as well, this Set token will automatically rebalance to a ratio of 75% Bitcoin, 25% ETH. So there's going to be some very funky combinations. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this one. You can build trading strategies or investing strategies into ERC20 tokens, and I'll continue to let you guys know everything that's happening with that exciting project. In terms of the decentralized finance space, I've got my Kyber network t-shirt on today. These guys want to widen their adoption to multiple blockchains. We know that EOS is next in line here. I've got some fantastic feedback from one of our Facebook group members saying that after the Bitfinex news broke, they wanted to get all their money out off Tether. a couple of clicks of a button. Kyber is now integrated into my Ether wallet. I've done a tutorial on that, and within a couple of clicks, bang, they're into another stablecoin, into Bitcoin, whatever else. Very, very easy to do. Now, this was an article on Hacker Noon about the different classifications of these decentralized finance protocols and the degree of centralization versus decentralization, the different aspects here. So this one was worth a read for those of you that want to have a deeper dive. Maker sitting somewhere in the middle here. So I'm not sure how accurate this is. I believe that a few of these projects are just about as decentralized as you can realistically get, particularly when launching. But obviously Maker had some bad news this week. So darkest days yet, the Purple Pill crew. So this was a small group of individuals. If you don't know what the Purple Pill is, it is a reference to the Matrix, and the Matrix is my favorite movie of all time. So we have the blue pill and the red pill. People that are very woke to everything that's happening around them versus the sheep that go through their lives and comply with government authority and so on. So the purple pill is someone that is theoretically somewhere in the middle or wise to both of those, realities. So there was a group of 3 people. They weren't really getting on with Rune and the other Maker team. Obviously, I'm pretty close with the Maker team, so I will reach out to them and try and get them on the channel soon. Price went down a little bit. I don't think 3 people leaving is the end of the world for this great project that's already grown so big. We did get some bad news about Digitech Futures. So this was a pretty heartbreaking video if you watched this. Adam Todd, the CEO, was pretty angry, pretty frustrated. $60 million wiped off that market cap. A 75% drop is one of the biggest drops we've seen from a live YouTube video. There's been a few of these over the years where a CEO or someone hops on and delivers some bad news. So this is pretty brutal. I do feel sorry for you guys. This was going to be a BitMEX exchange competitor. I'm not sure if I believe the numbers they're putting out about these huge wait lists of hundreds of thousands of people. I've asked around a lot of the trading groups and our own group, and to be honest, not a lot of people would sign up for this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is this a bit of smoke and mirrors that is being revealed, or are you still excited for the future of Digitex? Over to India, and it seems like they're continuing their crackdown with considering a complete ban. Now, I don't know if this is going to get through. We already know that this is going to move to peer-to-peer trading. I've got an interview with the CEO of ZebPay coming up. They were responsible for 80% of crypto trading volume in India. He's got some very interesting thoughts on all this. But for every country we see banning it, we sort of see them creeping back in with their interest towards blockchain technology, as the Chinese government has done here, supporting development of blockchain city in Malaysia. And I think in the next 12 months, China are going to come back into crypto in a meaningful way. Whether or not that means they use Neo, ontology, or really support a local project, I'm not too sure, but I just think there's going to be too much innovation for them to keep their doors closed in the next 12 months. Nathaniel Popper is a fantastic journalist, reporter for the New York Times, author of Digital Gold. And he tweeted saying, in the wake of TD Ameritrade opening Bitcoin trading for some of its customers, which we saw early in the week, so we know that they're coming as well now. We've been told that E-Trade is preparing to offer both Bitcoin and Ether trading. 5 million customers. This is absolutely fantastic news. 3 billion in yearly revenue and 65 billion in assets. Guys, it is now a race. Fidelity, backed, E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, all these ETF applications. As long as these are backed one by one, I'm reasonably happy, but you guys know my thesis. It's the adoption in developing nations and real world use, which is going to be the ultimate driver rather than these Wall Street investment products. If you do want a deeper dive into the future of digital assets and Wall Street and how this trading happens, I've done some fantastic interviews lately. I know a lot of you guys love our podcast now, and podcast downloads have been exploding lately. So these longer form ones are easier for you guys to listen to on the podcast. If you do want $25 of Bitcoin, all you've got to do is use the link in the description of this video and deposit $5. So send $5 of Bitcoin there, you get $25 when you start trading with Apr. Another fantastic exchange is DX Exchange. Again, creating all these synthetic assets and STOs and so on. Really fun interview I did with Daniel a week or two ago. Over to the corporates now, and Samsung becomes the latest in a long line that are getting into this space, developing their own Ethereum-based blockchain, maybe issuing their own token and so on. If you follow my work, you know that I think that this is the next iteration of how they can extract more data about us, mainly due to our spending habits. So look, I'm not too excited about Facebook coin, Samsung coin, all that sort of thing that's coming. The one thing I will say is that I think we're going to see your own keys maybe not be the way that a lot of people get into crypto. We're going to see the key store on a Samsung phone or whatnot, a few other layers of security, because we still see these stories coming out. Now, if you watch this video, you'll know that this is extremely unlikely unless you created a very unsafe private key. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out this video. But I think going forward, custody and insurance is going to become a big chunk of the crypto space. It's pretty non-existent now compared to everyone that's having to buy their own ledger and Trezor. And education is key. Hopefully those people take the next step to learn how to store their own crypto. But to begin with, a lot of people are going to have a wallet on their phone, and the private key is going to be stored locally or by Samsung or whatnot. Nike also joining the party this week. Now, as Josh pointed out, one of our premium members, this was not a patent application for some sort of technology. This was just a trademark application. So whether or not Nike plan on bringing out crypto kicks and range of shoes soon, either way, it is good to see them taking some sort of interest towards the blockchain space. They're a big name, and we have to recognize that all these little baby steps are just bringing crypto to the masses. Now, for Ethereum news today, we've got Vitalik proposing an increase in the staking rewards, doubling the staking rewards. If you watch my video about Ethereum 2.0 and the new chain, one of the things I spoke about was the need to increase rewards to make it more attractive for people to stake their Ethereum and earn more when we switch over. Now, I got to ask Vitalik this question in person at EdCon, and one of the things the team said that yes, they were definitely considering the need to make it more attractive. So it looks like they're taking action on this. It's going to be big business. A lot of people are drawn to staking coins because of those rewards. Now, obviously, if Ethereum does that, one of the biggest players in the space, it's going to be very positive. In Bitcoin news, we saw Lightning Labs launch their Lightning Network client. So this is for Bitcoin mainnet. This is available very soon on iOS and Android. So they've got some apps coming out soon. Lightning Labs will hopefully have a very easy to use app. Check out Blue Wallet, check out Wallet of Satoshi. There's a smorgasbord of very easy to use Lightning wallets that I use personally, free to use as well. Into the technical analysis, and I will share something that I did post in our private Facebook group this week. So keeping things really simple, guys. We had significant bearish divergence on the RSI. So prices are going higher, that relative strength is going lower. We've been looking for this sort of one last gasp higher, and if we go over to the chart now, we got that, but it just wasn't meaningful. Once we broke these highs, no volume, sellers came in pretty quickly, and then it tended to coincide with the Tether news. So this was the date we were looking for to have a correction down into April 26th. We've been talking about that for weeks here. Another good right-hand translation when we go up for the majority length of this cycle and turning down. So now we're pushing up. We're right in here in the moving averages acting as support. If we just zoom in a little bit, I've done a deep dive into flags, pennants, all that sort of thing for you guys, and I think that we are forming one now. Getting pretty tight towards the end of that. These moving averages that have been acting as support now acting as resistance. I think you'd have to say the chances are that we could be drifting a little bit lower here. So the next key levels to watch, if we go back to that daily chart, we're going to be looking at these fib levels, and then wherever the 50-day moving average comes into play here. But in the broader picture, I think we could chop around for a couple of weeks here. And if we look at the weekly chart, we know the 200-week moving average acted as really good support, and now we've got the 50-week acting as resistance. So look, this pattern isn't the end of the world in terms of selling volume, but this candle here is a reversal candle. Big support coming down here at around 4,700, where we've got those EMAs coming in on the weekly time frame. I don't think we're actually going to get down towards 4,100 without another bad round of news. So we're sort of in this phase where we need to chop around and just give the moving averages time to catch up. As long as it's all pretty healthy here, guys, as long as we don't have selling volume that outweighs this big buying volume that came in here, I'm a pretty happy camper for now. So I'm not going to roll through the other charts today, guys. They're all pretty much following Bitcoin apart from those hidden gems when we get some good fundamentals aligning. Good to see BAT, Basic Attention Token, becoming one of the best performing coins in recent weeks. And obviously we've been big supporters of the BAT browser, the Brave browser. And thank you to you guys that do donate to the channel. That's it for today, guys. If you do want to learn more, head over to nuggetsnews.com.au. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share these videos around. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Cheers.